And here we are live once again, folks. Good evening, Mobile Giza here. Welcome to Friday Night Tech Talk. And if you're new here, we do this every Friday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time from the U.S. And if you're new, we're glad to have you and hope you'll join us every week. We discuss some tech stories from the past week, and I put them up on my website, and I will let you see what that looks like. So I go share screen here. Let me get some of my brand stuff off the screen for a second. So if we go to mobilegiza.wordpress.com, click on today's date, and you'll get just tonight's stories that we're going to go over. So while we're here, we'll take a quick run through of those. Apple just announced its WWDC event in June. So I thought I'd lead out with that. And that's going to be, of course, a very short announcement. And I pulled that up from Android Authority because everybody had it. And then everybody's expecting the Apple headset to come out during WWDC. And that's still, I've seen some stories that there's an argument going on in Apple about whether or not that should be released, but people are expecting it, so we'll see. I just said, will anyone buy it? Because it's going to be very, very expensive. And then our Elon story of the week. Actually, this is a pretty serious story. Elon, Steve Wozniak, and other tech heavyweights think it's time to slow down AI. So they have an organization where a lot of big shots signed a letter like, hey guys, let's cool it with AI, but they're thinking it's getting dangerous. So, and I put the return of Jack Ma and Chinese tech because if some of you might be aware, that's about 6-7 months ago. Seems like the CCP went after Jack Ma and some of the other really, really rich Chinese businessmen, and they kind of disappeared, especially Jack Ma. But he's back. If you don't know, he's the head of Alibaba. And so they're thinking the CCP might be easing up on the crackdown. So we'll see. And there's another AI research group that put a complaint in with the FTC. They want the FTC to investigate OpenAI, who's the one who owns ChatGPT, who started all this fuss back in November. And they have a complaint with the FTC. So we're going to take a look at that. And once again, more chat stuff, more AI stuff. Google is adding a bunch of AI things to Mail and Drive and other Google apps and Google Workspace, and they're still playing catch up, basically. I said Google's still in panic mode trying to catch up to AI rivals. Now, of course, this is still while the big shots want them to start slowing down with AI. So those are the stories we'll be going over tonight. We get to the comments. Eleanor got here first. She says, hi, all. Hey, Don's in here from Oklahoma. Glad to have you, Don. And Annette, you're right on time. Glad to have you here. So we've got Tennessee, Oklahoma, California. Yes, Don said, I thought he was dead, meaning Jack Ma. A bunch of us thought Jack Ma might be dead because, I mean, he really disappeared. You're talking about one of the richest guys in China. So when the CCP tells you to chill out, I guess you go chill out until they tell you you can stop chilling out. That's what it seems like happened. Hey, Brian, glad to have you here, brother. Glad you're all here. Got some of our regulars here. So I haven't spoken to Ted or Will, so I don't know whether or not they'll be in tonight. As we know, Mike has not been coming in I think the last thing he said last week or the week before in one of his broadcasts is that he's shooting to start trying to join in regularly again in May. So that would mean we're a month away. So hopefully somebody will come in. Hey, Pat, glad you're here, brother. Always glad you came in. Pat is from England, I believe. So we're covering North. So the only one we're missing now is Renz from the Philippines. And of course, Renz, it's Saturday morning there, and he goes to work on Saturday morning. So he might be on his way to work, but hopefully he'll be in. So glad to have all you regulars here. And so I'm going to start the stories. So I'm going to go to the first story, which is the WWDC announcement. Let me switch this so it's full. And I pulled it up from Android Authority. So Apple sends out WWDC invites, hints at mixed reality headset launch. And there's an argument going on in Apple. I gather some developers in Apple do not think it's ready to be released. So nobody's sure whether this is going to happen. We can look forward to learning more about Apple's newest hardware product in June. And I'd say that's a definite maybe. So let's go into review. Get rid of some of these ads. Okay, Apple has sent out invites for its annual developer event, WWDC, continuing this tradition, which they've had for the past few years. WWDC 23 will be held in an online heavy, which means I guess some people will be in person, format with all developer sessions available online from June 5th to June 9th. Select developers and students will also be able to attend the opening keynote section, so a few people will get there live in person at Apple Park in California. Curiously, the invite that Apple has sent out may be hinting at the launch of its widely anticipated mixed reality headset, and I have another story about that coming up next. Apple has a history of dropping very subtle hints in its launch invites. These hints could be related to the launch of exciting new features, or they could be related to hardware. With its WWDC 23 invite, concentric arcs resemble the lenses that are often used inside VR headsets, like that. So I guess that's their hint. The company notes that the following in its WWDC announcement post, further hinting at the new headset's launch. As part of Apple's ongoing commitment to helping developers create innovative apps, the event will also provide them with unique access to Apple engineers, as well as insight into new technologies, there's a key word, and tools to help them realize their visions. Apple has long been rumored to be working on its own mixed reality headset. Yeah, like 3 years, a long time. A single headset that combines AR and VR together. That's why mixed reality. Rumors suggest that the headset was very recently shown off to top executives and that's on track for a public reveal in June, coinciding with WWDC 23. But there's some other rumors that it may not happen till later on in the year. Specifically, the WWDC invite resembles what is called a pancake lens array, which is often used in VR goggles. So, this will be the first time in many years that Apple is foraying into an entirely new category of products, and probably the first time it is entering one that is so nascent. But don't get too excited about owning another Apple product. With its rumored $3,000 price tag, the Apple mixed reality headset is not expected to be cheap. Yeah, I won't be buying that. The first iteration of their product is expected to focus on convincing developers to build experiences around Apple's vision. So it probably is not going to be complete for mixed reality, rather than be a completely polished end-user product like the iPhone or the AirPods. Leaks suggest that the device looks like a pair of ski goggles features a carbon fiber frame, gets a hip pack, so you're going to have something attached, with battery support, cameras on the outside to capture the real world, 2 4K displays on the inside, and a reality dial that lets users increase or decrease real-time video of the world around them. That's a pretty cool idea, I think. Not $3,000 worth, but aside from the purported mixed reality headset, WWDC will definitely play host to new versions of Apple's operating systems for its devices, including iOS 17, iPadOS 17, macOS 14, and watchOS 10. You can expect to learn more about what new features will be coming to your devices through these releases, and enthusiasts will also be able to sign up for betas. So we know what's coming June 5th. So I thought I should lead with that because people get excited about WWDC, especially if they're going to announce a new headset, which they may or may not. So let's see. Okay, nothing new in the comments. So I'm going to go on to the next story, which is specifically about the headset. And this one I found on CNET. And this was from 2 days ago. Why Apple's first VR headset may not be the one you buy. The next Apple mixed reality device is reportedly already in the works, and it may be much more consumer friendly. So they're already working on the second one before they release the first one. So this is by Scott Stein. And let's go into review and get rid of some of these ads. Apple's long-expected, quite mysterious mixed reality headset seems ready to emerge any month now. Perhaps it'll be announced as soon as Apple's next WWDC Developers Conference in June. The headset, which will enter an emerging landscape of hardware, including Meta's Quest 2 and Quest Pro, the PlayStation VR 2, and a bunch of other AR and VR devices, has been reported to be expensive, maybe have its own tethered processing, like I said, it might attach something to your hip, processing device, and perhaps be very limited in its launch features. Reports also suggest that Apple's own staff could be divided on whether this headset should launch now, so they're still arguing about it, in a not quite perfected state, or held for later on when it may approach a more functional pair of everyday glasses. I'm not sure it makes a difference because in all likelihood, you're not going to buy the first version anyway, which is expected to cost as much as $3,000. I don't mean to sound dismissive, but it's true. Barring some sort of miracle, there doesn't seem to be any way Apple's first-gen AR/VR device will be anything more than a sort of foot in the door. Yeah, that's probably true. And by the way, that's exactly what Apple's previous big product line entries were too. Now he's going to go prove his point with telling us about first-time devices before. The first Apple Watch. Did you own one? No, I did not. I remember reviewing the very first Apple Watch in 2015 and finding it a pretty mixed bag. Nice design touches, really cool digital crown, and very slow. Also expensive and kind of complicated with all its specific features and settings. Odds are you didn't own one. No, I didn't own one until a year and a half ago. And now I'm on the second SE. Apple added more useful features later, a far faster processor, which was the big deal, a bigger screen, an onboard app store, better fitness functions, and always on display. The price came down too. The Apple Watch's biggest advantage now is its consistency. That's true. After generations of other smartwatches have come and gone, Apple has largely stayed the course and iterated on the theme. And I think that's true. It's basically Apple Watch and a Galaxy Watch. Those are the two that you can depend on. Oh, Brian, thank you so much. Always FNT sponsored by Magic Mike Dixon DoorDash. That's a very good point. Good point. Thank you, Brian. And he's going to go on to talk about other original products. The first iPhone was the same story. I loved how it was a very small web browsing and email equipped iPod. That's all it was, really. And it went with me on my honeymoon, but it was way ahead of everything else at the time. The 2G cellular data was terrible, and most of the features we associated with iPhones, video chat, GPS, Apple Pay, Touch ID, Face ID, and App Store weren't around. But it was still ahead of everybody else, I think. It was a fancy iPod phone. The multi-touch was impressive, and certain apps like Google Maps were stunning. People thought it was cool. Few people were ready to buy one. Well, it was pretty expensive too. Wasn't it $500, I think? Then AirPods, initially mockable. I test drove AirPods at Apple's 2016 iPhone event, and a photo of me wearing them ended up becoming a meme. It was a given that they looked absurd. Everybody talked about that. Everybody got used to it, though. Yes, these were wireless earbuds, but wireless earbuds already existed. The price wasn't bad, but plenty of people seemed happy with cheap, free with iPhone wide earbuds that wouldn't fall out of your ears and get lost, or didn't like the cigarette butts sticking out of your ears. That's a good point. Uh-oh, we got Ted. Yo, Ted. How are you?
All right. Hey, everyone.
All right, let me get finished with this story, and then we'll come right back to you. Okay, so that was AirPods, but it didn't take long for opinion on AirPods to shift. That's the truth. And now, well, they're everywhere. So how much patience does Apple have? The big question is how much time Apple has to give its headset and multiple iterations of it to succeed. That'll be the difference between success and failure. Meta stuck with the Oculus Rift from 2016 to now, creating many versions before the Quest 2 finally started selling decently. It could take years before the real applications of VR and AR are figured out on a larger scale. That's true. And wireless networks are able to take on the cloud processing that could allow these headsets to eventually work in smaller, lighter forms. That's very, very true. All right, so basically he's saying that it's a first generation product. I'm not going to read all of this all the way down, but at $3,000, how many people are going to buy this? Probably not many people. I know I'm not. So anyway, he's making, I think, some good points here. So let me get out of this. No, I don't want that. Trying to get out of read of view. Okay, kill that. Let's stop screen there. You can all get a good look at Ted's pretty face. Okay. Hey, he's actually got light on him today. That's a miracle. He's not crazy about it. Your voice is cutting in and out, I think. Talk some more.
All right, let me see if I can pull up the.
Yeah, so you said, let me see if I can pull up, and then we lost you for a second.
Yeah, it's every time an audio comes through your Moto phone, the mic goes away.
Okay. Oh, you go ahead. Blame it on my phone. That's okay. Brian's asking me.
Hey, Brian.
Use multi-point. I haven't used multi-point yet, but it's finding the time to check out all this stuff. That's the big deal. Okay. So are you changing mics, or what are you doing?
No, I just stopped the audio coming in from the phones.
Oh, okay.
The mic will just stay working.
Okay. Brian said it looks like summer hours where Ted is at. Well, he's in Texas. It's caught a lot warmer there than here, I'll bet you.
5 degrees. We get a one-off.
Okay, yeah, we've got supposedly a pretty big storm coming through tonight. So,
actually the sun is it's sunsetting now. So when the sun is setting, like, it lights up this room nicely. So
very nice. Cool.
It'll be dark in a minute.
He asked how I don't use multi-point. Actually, yes, I do. You're right. He says that carry trouble. Speaking of phones, the neglected unless you let you know what phones I have with me. Thanks for reminding me, Brian. Tonight, I happen to have what I used all day today was my Pixel 7 and my Flip 4. This is what I used at work all day today. But I also brought tonight, I have my iPhone 14 Pro Max and I have my Pixel 6 Pro with me. What I find is when I'm broadcasting and I'm following what's being said on YouTube, because of the delay, I can follow it on my Pixels, especially my Pixels, without the delay, because both the Pixels will go much longer before the screen makes me want to refresh it. Both of them can go 30 minutes, and those are the only two phones I have. I think that'll go more than 10 minutes without refreshing. So that's why I like to use the Pixels to watch my comments. Okay. What are you making faces for?
I'm just thinking,
Okay.
looking at the phone because that's where the camera is, but
Right.
the feed is happening on the monitor.
Right.
You might as well just have the monitor, the feed coming up on the phone since I'm looking down at it.
Okay. Well, it makes sense.
Don't know how to do it though. I'm not sure how to do it.
So have you started any working on your video with the phone?
Not yet.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I knew somebody. Brian said, "What? No, what's not? No S23 Ultra. My Pixel 7 Pro is a paperweight." Yeah, I knew somebody was going to ask me why I didn't bring the S23 Ultra, but I've been carrying it so much, and I was using my Pixel 6 Pro at home. So I said, well, let me take the Pixel 6 Pro, and I like to have the iPhone with me in case anybody asks about it. So I left the S23 Ultra at home tonight. So, Ted, you want to take the next story?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, it's going to be the... okay, let me share screen so I can share what I said. So what I said is Elon, Steve Wozniak, and other tech heavyweights think it's time to slow down AI. What did you? Oh, you came and went, Ted, that quick?
Yep, I did the thing I was thinking about doing.
Oh, you did. So it worked.
Yeah.
Okay,
We just
good.
need a little bit to jump back in.
All right, I got this story from BBC News. So whenever you're ready, we're good to go.
But now, oof, I just have this monitor doing nothing, I guess. Well, no, let me put up the stories here.
You shouldn't have said doing nothing. Of course, my singer's mind went nothing from nothing leaves nothing. Okay. Brian, my friend's Pixel 6 still doesn't have the March. Really? Because I got it on my Pro last Monday. Yeah, this past Monday. So I thought everybody would get it by then because it was already a week late from the Pixel 7. He gets no phone calls. Wow, still in airplane mode. That's a serious problem. Okay, yeah, my Pixel 6 Pro was working just fine, except for not getting the update. But like I said, I thought everybody got it at the same time. That's really annoying. All right, Ted popped out on us. Let's see if he's back again.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
I pulled
Now
up on the monitor, and it can't do 2 instances of Chrome, so
okay.
it turned off the one here. All right, I got the story.
Okay, yeah, when you're ready. And I know Musk has been one of the ones from the beginning who said we need to be careful with AI, but now he, Wozniak, and a bunch of others thinking, okay, this is going to start getting dangerous if we don't slow down. So,
Yep.
and like I said, I pulled this up on BBC News.
Geezer. What was the name of your website again?
The name what?
Of your website?
Oh, BBC News.
No. WordPress, Mobile Geezer WordPress. That's it.
Oh, yes. mobilegeezer.wordpress.com.
How much
Sorry
is that
about that.
main section?
I
cost? Like,
sent you the link. You should have it.
I got it now.
Okay.
I like to fake traffic to your site.
Okay.
All right. So
It's the Elon story.
I know Chrome doesn't have a reader mode. All right. Go be gone, pop up. So Elon Musk among experts, urging a halt to AI training.
Yep. And I'm putting in a reader view now.
Interesting. Wonder where that energy was when it came to
Oh no, he has been consistent about this from the beginning. He has said from the beginning we're going to have to be careful with this, and he's belonged to this group for a long time. You'll see it in the story.
I meant I was referring to releasing, autopilot on his cars, but
Oh,
yeah,
okay, yeah, okay,
I know like for years he's been talking about this on the Joe Rogan podcast, but
yeah.
so key figures in artificial intelligence want training of powerful AI systems to be suspended amid fears of a threat to humanity. Yeah. They have signed an open letter.
Oh, he just disappeared on us again. Let's see if he comes back right away. That was weird. I didn't expect that. I guess he's using the Moto phone that I sent him to do some testing with, but I didn't expect him to have all this kind of trouble. I think he used it last week and it was okay. The phone that he's using is the Moto Edge Plus 2022, but I don't think he had these issues last week. But since he's not back yet, I guess I'll go ahead. Oh, you are back. Okay. Yeah, you were gone like quick. Do you know what happened?
Yeah, it's that things. It's causing somehow I'm opening up another like Chrome browser, Chrome tab, and it's like
On your other display?
yeah.
Okay.
All right, but back to the story. Twitter chief Elon Musk is among. Right. They have signed an open letter warning of potential risk and say the race to develop AI systems is out of control.
Yeah, and you'll see that from some of my stories coming up. Go ahead.
Should have said it's out of this world. Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak and some researchers at DeepMind also signed. OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, released GPT-4, state-of-the-art technology, which has impressed observers with its ability to do tasks such as answering questions about objects and images. The letter from the Future of Life Institute, signed by the luminaries, wants development to be halted temporarily at that level, warning in their letter of the risk future more advanced systems might pose. AI systems with human competitive intelligence can pose profound risks to society and humanity. The Future of Life Institute is a nonprofit organization which says its mission is to steer transformative technologies away from extreme large-scale risk and towards benefiting life. Must not be doing a good job because this is the first time I'm hearing about you guys.
Oh, well, I think the organization has been around for a few years now. This is the first time they've had good reason to come out and say something important, I think.
Mr. Musk, owner of Twitter and CEO of Tesla, a car company Tesla, is listed as an external advisor to the organization. Advanced AIs need to be developed with care, the letter says, but instead, recent months have seen AI labs locked in an out-of-control race to develop and deploy even more digital minds that no one, not even their creators, can understand, predict, or reliably control.
That's true. There have been stories that they didn't know what it was going to say next, and it said whatever it felt like. That's true.
The letter warns that AIs could flood information channels with misinformation and replace jobs with automation. The letter follows a recent report from investment bank Goldman Sachs, which said that AIs will likely increase productivity. Millions of jobs could become automated. Yeah, white collar jobs. Yeah. However, the other experts told BBC the effect of AI on the labor market was very hard to predict. As smart it and obsolete, more speculative. The letter also asks, should we develop non-human minds that might eventually outnumber, outsmart, and replace us? Stuart Russell, a computer science professor at the University of California, Berkeley, and a signatory to the letter, told BBC News, AI systems pose significant risk to democracy through weaponized disinformation, to employment through displacement of human skills, and to education through plagiarism and demotivation. And in the future, AI may pose a more general threat to human control over our civilization. In the long run, taking sensible precautions is a small price to pay to mitigate these risks. But Princeton computer science professor Arvind Narayanan accused the letter of focusing on speculative future risk, ignoring the version of the problem that is already harming people.
I agree.
In a recent blog post quoted in the letter, OpenAI warned of the risk if an artificial general intelligence was developed recklessly. A misaligned superintelligent AGI could cause grievous harm to the world. An autocratic regime with decisive superintelligence could do that too. Coordination among AGI efforts to slow down at critical junctures will likely be important. OpenAI has not publicly commented on the letter. The BBC has asked the firm whether it backs the call. Mr. Musk was a co-founder of OpenAI. I did not know this.
Yes, he did. He dropped out once they decided to become a money-making company.
So he resigned from the board of organization some years ago and tweeted critically about its current direction. Autonomous driving functions made by his car company Tesla, like most similar systems, use AI technology. The letter asked AI labs to immediately pause for at least 6 months the training of AI systems more powerful than ChatGPT-4. If such a delay cannot be enacted quickly, government should step in and institute a moratorium.
I agree.
And capable regulatory authorities dedicated to AI would also be needed.
I agree again.
The number of proposals for the regulation of technology has been put forward in the US, UK, and EU. However, the UK has ruled out a dedicated regulator.
I think that's a very stupid decision by the UK. Obviously, all the governments are going to have to put some kind of regulators around this thing. So I think that's a very, very dumb decision for the UK. So I agree with them. I saw one from the Australian guy who has the big channel. He was saying that the whole ChatGPT is developing way, way faster than people thought it would. And so I agree with him. I think it's time to slow down. But because Microsoft and Google don't want to slow down, it may not happen. We'll see.
This screen keeps going on. How do I keep this screen on?
You have to tap it. That's why I use the Pixel phones, because I don't have to keep tapping it. The other phones I do. Let's see. Brian. We already saw that. Brian, Elon just scared the AI responses will troll him and he's too snowflakes to have. No, I think there really is some serious danger here from other stories I'm seeing. And I think there's some serious danger that some of these AIs will start maybe not completely thinking on their own, but kind of thinking on their own, and certainly thinking in ways that we can't predict. And if you're going to invent something, you better know how to predict what it's going to do. Just my opinion. Let's see. Pixels never get at the same time. They're as smooth as dollar vodka sold in a plastic bottle. Goes down like drinking sand. Wow. Moto said, let's go, Ted. Okay.
Did you actually? I read a story yesterday. Apparently, ChatGPT was able to. This company gave a
OpenAI.
beta to ChatGPT for with the aim to be able to replicate itself.
Oh, and don't tell me it did.
They didn't know. They didn't say what happened, like if it reached its goal. But when it was following out the steps,
Right.
it came across CAPTCHA,
Okay. Right.
and instead of they were surprised to see that instead of ChatGPT, like guessing at the
Right.
CAPTCHA, it instead hired someone from TaskRabbit to solve it for it itself instead.
Okay. I'm surprised it didn't tell CAPTCHA I'm not a robot or something.
But then the person who did the job, the TaskRabbit job to answer the CAPTCHA for it was like, why couldn't you answer it yourself? Like, are you a robot or something?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
ChatGPT replied like, no, I'm not a robot.
Yeah. Okay. So it did say that. Yeah. Because it technically isn't a robot. So I guess that's
Well,
honest.
experiment problems. So
Yeah.
I'm not
And
sure whether it lied or it was just stretching the truth because it's not a robot. And since it doesn't have eyes, I guess you can see it has visual impairment issues.
right. But keep in mind, all of this stuff is based on gigantic uh, data that it has access to, but it still translates everything into zeros and ones because all it understands, like any other computer, is zeros and ones. But it's doing this based on the huge amounts of data that it collects, and it learns and learns and learns because it has so much data. But there have already been stories about it stretching the truth and also kind of delusionally thinking, well, it's in love with its, with a programmer, or the programmer should be in love with him, so nobody can predict what this thing is going to do.
Tell whether the program can lie or not. That's kind of weird.
I think it has been asked. I think I've read somewhere it has been asked if it can lie, and it said it could. There's no because who has taken the time to teach this thing any morality? Well, nobody has, which means it's not going to have a problem lying. That it's not going to think there's anything wrong with lying. Why would it? You and I think there's something wrong with lying, but there's no reason why it would think that because nobody's ever taught it that.
Actually, I went to I think it was 2 weeks ago. I went to the Dallas Morning News. We're doing a panel on ChatGPT. This was actually when the OpenAI had just announced ChatGPT 4 with the Dallas. I remember one thing they were talking about, the professors. They said because the language was so large,
Mm-hmm.
The
language model, right?
Language model was so large,
Right.
It couldn't be. It's not able to like do new things, like learn like completely new things outside of the learning models, because
It's true, but keep in mind, up until I think the learning model, as far as everything I've read, the last time it actually had something up to date was the fall of 2021 or towards the end of 2021. But with the Microsoft version, the one that they have out in Bing, that actually has connection to the internet. So that could check out things after 2021 because the internet is right now. So ChatGPT 4 is stuck at 2021, but the Bing version is not.
But have you tried out Bard, by the way? Speaking of internet.
No, I tried it one time. Like I said, for me, finding the time to do all this stuff is the thing because I work 3 days a week. But the one time I tried it, it was just overwhelmed with too many people, and I haven't had a chance to go back and try. I will try to get to it this weekend.
I never had an overwhelm message from Google Bard.
Oh, I had the one time I tried it.
Okay.
And it said it was said, keep in mind it's still in development and that kind of thing. And I mentioned that last week. I will try to get to it this weekend, but I know I have access, so I'm one of the people that got invited. So
all I'm going to say is, Google's in trouble. They are losing the fight.
Yeah, they are losing the fight, and another story I have coming up at the end is showing that once again. But I think they need to listen to Elon and Steve and all these other people, because I think if they keep up this race between them, something bad is going to happen. And I think it's going to be one of those things where people smarter than you tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen, and we're going to pay a price for that. And it might be a very serious price.
Members of the chat, if you are so particularly concerned about this, I've included a link to the letter that you can also add your signature to.
Oh, cool. So Brian says ChatGPT, the new Skynet. That's what they're kind of worried about. Brian said ChatGPT going to deem humans too dumb and illogical and create the Terminator to get rid of us. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But keep in mind, you guys are probably too young, but before the Terminator movie, the first one, ever came out, there were other movies before that also came to the conclusion that humans were just too dumb to stay in control, and where the computers actually took over and the humans could not stop them. Now, they didn't kill everybody, but they said, no, you people are just too stupid to be in charge, so we're in charge now. And what happened, I remember the one movie, the big computer in the United States, and this was in the 70s, and the big computer in Russia, they finally got together and they said, okay, we're in charge now. And there wasn't a thing humanity could do about it. So it's not just the Terminator movies. All that kind of stuff, it's a possibility, I think.
There's a little side discussion. People think that the Terminator movies is actually a prequel to The Matrix.
I wouldn't be surprised. I could see that. Couldn't you? I never thought of it, but it kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
The Matrix was like, so far out in the future. Like, they didn't really know what year it was.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to shock you now. I have never watched any of the Matrix movies all the way through. Never from beginning to, and I've seen pieces, and that's all I've seen.
See the first one?
Not all the way through, maybe halfway through I saw it. That's about it. I don't know why. Those movies turned me off. I don't know why. I can't.
But I didn't see the first one. Yeah, the only problem with that, it was like, in The Matrix, the movie, the machines were running off solar power.
Oh, were they? Okay, I didn't know that.
And that's why the humans torched the sky. That's why it became a wasteland. Okay. But in the Terminator movies, like, the machines run off batteries. So
yeah, well, Brian is saying machines need a power source, and that's true.
So I'm just thinking, like, at what point, when did the machines decide, all right, we can't, they couldn't make any more batteries, so they started to just use the people. They switched to solar power, and then that's when in Terminator they scorched the sky. I don't know. Okay. I mean, it could work. It could work out.
I remember in one of the movies before Terminator ever came out, the computer had pretty much taken over that this scientist had invented, and the scientist was trying to find a way to cut him off, and he couldn't. And it was going to cut off the electricity. Well, the computer got wind of that before it happened, and it took over the electric grid. So, all right. So I'm going to go on to the next story, which to me was the biggest story of the week, I thought. But just because, as Brian and I both said earlier, we thought maybe Jack Ma was dead. So I'm going to share screen.
He must have passed his re-education with flying colors.
Well, they did. Obviously, they weren't going to let him come out in public again until they said so, because he did shoot his mouth off against the CCP, and that's what got him in trouble. But once they put him on ice, keep in mind, they put a few other millionaires on ice, big-time billionaires on ice too. And it sounds like everything's opening up, but we'll see what this story says. So I said the return of Jack Ma and Chinese tech, or so we think. And I found this one on CNBC. So after a more than $1 trillion rout, that's a big rout, Beijing appears to be warming to Chinese tech giants. And I don't think we know for sure. This was published 2 days ago, and I'm going to put this in reader view to get rid of these ads. Okay, and this was by Arjun Karpal 2 days ago. Beijing's regulatory crackdown on the Chinese tech sector began in late 2020, wiping off more than a combined $1 trillion from the country's biggest companies. Yeah, they really nailed them too. There are now signs that the central government is softening its stance towards internet titans like Alibaba in a move that could prove positive for Chinese tech stocks. The regulatory headwinds that we had in the past 2 years, that's now becoming from a headwind to a tailwind. I think they should have said that's now becoming, not from, or changing from. This one's a tough one. This is said by George F. Staphopoulos. That's the closest I can get. Portfolio manager at Fidelity International told CNBC Street Signs Asia on Wednesday. On Tuesday, Alibaba announced, now get this, a major reorganization. That's going to be important later on in the story. Looking to split its company into 6 business units in an initiative designed to unlock shareholder value and foster market competitiveness. Maybe that's true, but we'll see in the story later on. Over the past 2 years, China's government has often railed against the disorderly expansion of capital of tech firms that have grown into large conglomerates. That's the thing. Mine, a couple of these other guys were growing way too fast, and the CCP had to get control of them. I think they probably do now. Part of Alibaba's announcement noted that these splintered businesses could raise outside capital and even go public if the CCP lets them, seemingly heading in a contrary direction to Beijing's concerns. Not happening. F. Staphopoulos said that the move could indicate a green light from the upper echelons of the Chinese government. And that's what I think this breaking up into 6 companies is about. You have senior leadership blessing for unlocking value. And to me, that is a fantastic indication of where we are now, essentially moving from regulation not being the issue that it was. I'm not going to try to say his name again. Alibaba's restructure isn't the only sign that Beijing could be easing up its scrutiny of the tech sector. Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba, returned to public view in China for the first time in months. Some credit Ma with sparking the start of the tech crackdown in October 2020. Yes, he did. He shut his mouth off too much. When the billionaire made comments that appeared critical of China's financial regulator. Yes, and they were very critical. A few days later, Ant Group, the financial technology affiliate of Alibaba, that was controlled by Ma, was forced to scrap its massive Hong Kong and Shanghai dual listing after regulators said it did not meet the requirements to go public. So they shut them down right there before they went public. Following this, the Chinese government doled out huge antitrust fines to Alibaba. That's true, I remember that. And food delivery giant Meituan, including a slew of regulation in areas from data protection to the way in which companies can use algorithms. Yeah, and they find a bunch of other big companies too. Ma's reappearance in Hangzhou, where Alibaba is headquartered, has been read as another sign of Beijing's more positive view toward the tech sector and entrepreneurs. Jack just didn't show up in Hangzhou because he was tired of traveling around. That's true. I think he showed up because they told him you're allowed to come in public now. I think it was well orchestrated and fits with the government's campaign to demonstrate that they are relaxing pressures on the private sectors and are welcoming the rest of the world. Stephen Roach, a senior fellow at Yale University, told CNBC Squawk Box Asia on Tuesday. Economic growth in focus. There have been further signs of regulatory easing over the past few weeks. The gaming sector was hard hit in 2021. That I did not know. As authorities grew concerned about addiction among young people, that's right, they limited the teenagers to mostly just a couple of hours on the weekend. Chinese regulators froze the approval of new game releases for several months. Didn't know that. Last April, authorities began to greenlight new games, mainly from domestic firms. This month, the video game licensing regulator gave its stamp of approval to a batch of foreign titles for release in China. Meanwhile, Chinese ride-hailing giant Didi, yeah, they were in trouble too. One of the companies caught up in the regulatory overhaul announced its plans to expand its business, so they really are easing up. Didi went public in the U.S. in June 2021, but found itself subjected to cybersecurity review by Chinese regulators within days of listing. So they got pulled off too. It eventually delisted from the New York Stock Exchange and plans to float in Hong Kong. So they weren't allowed to stay public either. Over the last few days, foreign technology executives, including Apple CEO Tim Cook and Qualcomm CEO Cristiano Amon, visited China and met with government officials. They will go kiss their feet for as much as they have to. Jack Ma, founder of Alibaba, reappeared in the public view in China for the first time in months. Yeah, we know all this. Blah, blah, blah. Move as a signal of softening, blah, blah, blah. In addition to warming to the domestic tech sector, China is also courting foreign businesses. Its economy has been battered over the past 2 years, thanks in part to the country's strict COVID policies. That's true. The government now aims for around 5% economic growth this year. They probably need it. China is facing both weak economic growth and rising tech competition from the U.S. Pretty tough position to be in, so they need the economy to fire on all cylinders. Tough regulations on big tech platforms just doesn't make sense at this juncture. Ling Haobao, tech analyst at Trivium China, told CNBC via email. Is China out of the woods? While there are promising signs for investors, there is also reason to be cautious, warned Xin Sun, senior lecturer in Chinese at East Asian Business at King's College London. Sun describes the Alibaba, this I think is significant, describes the Alibaba reorganization as a move to break up Alibaba's business empire and to reduce its influence that could potentially pose a threat to the Chinese Communist Party's rule. So I think that's all about them controlling those 6 companies. After restructuring, the organizational structure of Alibaba will become more decentralized, and more charged by the CCP. And the control over its assets, data, and resources will be less concentrated. The party could then impose stronger political control over each of the new entities more easily, Sun added. I agree. He cautions against too much optimism around the Chinese technology sector. While latest moves bring some regulatory certainty, many questions remain about how other tech giants might fare. That's true. In the short run, Alibaba's restructuring might be perceived as routinization of the government regulatory actions and provide some regulatory certainty for this sector, Sun said. In the long run, however, it raises more questions about the fate of other tech giants. Will Tencent, Meituan, and ByteDance be broken up too? Yeah, ByteDance owns TikTok. If so, do they make their own decisions or do they just wait for the order from the government? Oh, by the way, I didn't get a chance to read the article, but I saw an article today that Italy has just banned TikTok. So this is kind of going around the world. India's done it. Italy's done it. I think Brazil has done it. And a lot of it think about it. So, say that again?
Government employees can have the app for their...
I didn't read the story, but it just, what the headline said, China has now banned TikTok. So that's all I saw. So I'm not sure if it's across the country or if it's just government employees. Anyway, let me stop screen. And there's Renz. Renz, thank you so much, sir. I know you must be busy at work. Thank you as always.
Here, but Senator Rand, darn it, vetoed it. What's up with that?
Vetoed what?
The bill. I think it was the DMA, the Digital Americanization bill, to give Biden the power to block
Oh,
to
okay.
TikTok.
Yeah, they're all against TikTok, but it's not just us. It's like 7 or 8 countries around the world. So everybody's very suspicious about their tie to the Chinese government. Brian had said that Samsung excuse they left that vulnerability in their SOB so we can take them down. Who's he? Oh, yeah, machines need a power source. That was okay.
Oh.
And everybody's saying hi to Renz, of course. Okay. So, going on. Next story, Ted, is the one about OpenAI. You going to take it? It's one that the company has made a complaint against OpenAI and ChatGPT. You want to take that one?
I don't want to do the second one. But
So we only have 2 left. Do you want this one or you want the one on Google?
I'll take the one on Google.
All right, then I'll do this one. Okay. Now, what I said was AI research group wants the FTC to investigate OpenAI, the company that owns ChatGPT, and ChatGPT complaint. And this was on CNBC. So, OpenAI faces complaint to FTC that seeks investigation and suspension of ChatGPT releases. So, somebody thinks they're doing something illegal. So let's go to review. Okay. OpenAI is facing a new complaint to the FTC that urges the agency to investigate the group and suspend its commercial deployment, that would be heavy duty for them, of large language models, including its latest iteration of the popular tool ChatGPT, in other words, right, GPT-4. The complaint made public by the nonprofit research group Center for AI and Digital Policy on Thursday accuses OpenAI of violating Section 5 of the FCT Act, which prohibits unfair and deceptive business practices and the agency's guidance for AI products. CAIDP calls GPT-4 biased, deceptive. I can see where it's deceptive and a risk to privacy and public safety because when people did some testing a few weeks ago, they found that GPT-4 was so left-leaning, it didn't even consider anything to the right. So, it's going to be based on who programmed it, but OpenAI did say, yeah, it was a little bit too skewed one way. So they're supposed to be fixing that. So I can see where they might call it deceptive. The group says the large language model failed to meet the agency's standards for AI to be transparent, explainable, fair, and empirically sound while fostering accountability. And that would make sense if it's skewed too far one way. The group wants the FTC to require OpenAI to establish a way to independently assess GPT products before they're deployed in the future. I think that's a good idea. It also wants the FTC to create a public incident reporting system, for GPT-4, similar to its systems for reporting consumer fraud. Wow. That'd be like a whole department just for that. It also wants the agency to take on a rulemaking initiative to create standards for generative AI product. And I think that absolutely has to be done. I think all the governments are going to have to do that. Pardon me, that's just my opinion. CAIDP's president, Mark Rottenberg, signed on to a widely circulated open letter, that's the same letter we read about already, released Wednesday, that called for a pause of at least 6 months on the training of AI systems more powerful than GPT-4. Yeah, but Google and Microsoft are going to see that as losing billions of dollars. Tesla CEO Elon Musk, who co-founded OpenAI, and Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak were among the other signatories. OpenAI did not immediately respond to a request for comment. The FTC declined to comment. But there was something in the other article that kind of sounded like OpenAI might agree that they have to slow down. So I think they should slow down. Just my opinion. All right. I got a read review. Let's get rid of this. And all right, should I go on to it for the next story for you? Are we good? Are you frozen?
No, I'm good.
No, okay. All right, I'm pulling up the story from The Verge, and whenever you're ready.
Let's see. Google announces AI features in Gmail, Docs, and more to rival Microsoft. Finally, although it's Bard. Bard
Yeah,
has-
they're still behind though. Okay.
Google will soon offer ways to generate text and images using machine learning in its workspace products as part of a scramble to catch up with rivals in the new AI race.
Yep.
No, actually, Adobe just released theirs this week called Firefly.
I didn't know that. Okay.
To generate its text-based generator for images, and it uses the images from their stock photo.
That's pretty cool.
Very annoying though that you can only access it on the website. It's not like you can't download. There's not an app to download it, so that was annoying.
Well, there will be, I'm sure, at some point.
Google has announced a suite of upcoming generative AI features for its various workspace apps, including Google Docs, Gmail, Sheets, and Slides. Again, it's about time because like Canva, even Canva has one for their docs.
Yeah, I saw. I see that down here later in the article, and I was surprised about that.
Yeah, features include new ways to generate, summarize, brainstorm text with AI in Google Docs, similar to how many people use OpenAI's ChatGPT, although I wouldn't trust Bard at this point to do it. The good job summarizing. The option to generate full emails in Gmail based on users' brief bullet points, and
that's very, very cool. I think that right there.
Let's see, option to generate full emails in Gmail based on users' brief bullet points. The ability to produce AI imagery, audio, and video to illustrate. All right, that one is a good one.
Yeah.
Similar to features in both Microsoft Designer. Never heard about that one. I don't know.
Yeah.
Microsoft.
Yeah,
Designer.
but the DALL-E, that's been out since ChatGPT's been out, so it's probably been there all a while.
And Canva powered by Stable Diffusion. I didn't know.
I didn't know Canva had gotten started on it.
The announcement shows Google's eagerness to catch up on competitors in the new AI race. Ever since the arrival of ChatGPT last year, Microsoft's launch of chatbot-enabled Bing this February, the search giant has been scrambling to launch new AI features. The company reportedly declared a code red in December, with senior management telling staff to add AI tools to all its user products, which are used by billions of people in a matter of months. That's kind of disappointing. That you would think they had this in the works for some time, and maybe
but Microsoft got out in front of them because Microsoft practically became a partner with OpenAI because they put like $40 billion into OpenAI.
But Google is definitely racing ahead of itself. On March 30th, the company announced that it's letting a group of trusted testers access the new AI writing tools in Docs and Gmail, and promised updates on how they were being used. The approach
that would be good to have.
Mm-hmm. Bard is now accessible to at least some members of the public who join the waitlist. However, the company hasn't specified when the rest of the tools announced will be available to testers or the public, beyond saying that we can expect to see them later this year.
Which tells you they're still way behind.
You can see below the full list of AI-powered tools Google says will be coming to the workspace apps in the future. And that is draft, reply, summarize, prioritize in Gmail, brainstorm, proofread, and rewrite in Docs. Bring your creative vision to life with auto-generated images, audio. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Go from raw data to insights analysis via auto-completion, formula generation, and contextual categorization in Sheets. You can make your own budget app with that.
Yeah.
Generate new backgrounds and capture notes in Meet. Enable workflows for getting things done in Chat. Of all the new features, the AI writing and brainstorming tools in Docs and Gmail seem to be the most potentially useful. In sample demo, a user has shown, help me write, and then enters and then enters a request, job post for regional sales rep. The AI system then completes the job spec for them in seconds, letting them edit and refine the text. Google expands on the potential functions in its press release. Blah, blah, blah. Whether you're
That sounds pretty impressive to me, though.
yeah, but Notion's been doing that for a while now, so it's been done. Whether you're a busy HR professional who needs to create customized job descriptions, Workspace saves you the time and effort of writing the first version. It's what I've been using ChatGPT to do, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people have been doing it. Yep.
A similar feature will let users rewrite or expand its AI tools. So, says Google, you might jot down a few bullet points about a work meeting. Google can expand this into a more polished summary with users able to manually specify the tone, whether it should be more whimsical, formal. In a video demo, Google shows AI being used to write personalized marketing messages for clients and summarizing contents of a long email chain in Gmail. Again, these are somewhat familiar features. Slack recently announced they will use ChatGPT to create similar summary discussions, for example.
Okay.
Those things can be everywhere.
Everybody's jumping on it, yeah. So yeah, and they want them to slow it down for 6 months, which I think they should do.
Microsoft is rumored to be building similar features, including into its Office suite apps. They already said this.
Yeah.
Microsoft famously unsettled Google this year with the launch of the new Bing. CEO Satya Nadella described AI-assisted search as a new paradigm that could unseat Google from its throne.
Now, where are you reading from now?
Second paragraph under the GIF.
Oh, okay. Well, I think I have to take it out of ReaderView. Okay.
Microsoft has scheduled an event where it will detail its plans for the future of work with AI later this week, March 16th. Let's see. As Google integrates this technology into enterprise software, these failings could cause major issues. What if Google's AI summaries of your meetings misattribute quotations or ideas, for example? Or if your AI generated marketing emails invent new clients or products. In its press release today, Google offered a standard disclaimer. Sometimes the AI gets things wrong. Sometimes it delights you with something offbeat, and oftentimes it requires guidance. But while users may see the funny side of Microsoft Bing's chatbot going off the rails, they may take less kindly to an offbeat AI that costs them money.
Yeah, that's true. There's been an awful lot of standard disclaimers. It seems like more of them are coming from Google than Microsoft, though.
Let's see. Let's go. Bonus round, one extra story. Should we go? Microsoft Bing chatbot is getting more ads, or Google denies Bard was trained with ChatGPT data?
Where are you getting those stories? Oh, I see. No, I already saw the ad story. Let's go with the Bard train with ChatGPT, because I think that's more interesting, because that means Microsoft is going. That means OpenAI is going to sue them if that's true.
Drama, huh? Let's see. Bard was trained with ChatGPT data.
Yep.
By Sean Hollister. Google's Bard hasn't exactly had an impressive debut, and the information is reporting that the company is so interested in changing the fortunes of its AI chatbot. It's forcing its DeepMind division to help Google Brain Team beat OpenAI with a new initiative called Gemini. The information report also contains the potentially staggering third-hand allegation that Google stooped so low as to train Bard using data from OpenAI's ChatGPT, scraped from a website called ShareGPT. A former Google AI researcher reportedly spoke out against using that data, according to the publication.
Yeah, but if it's called ShareGPT, you would think it would be open for anybody to come to it, which means they shouldn't be complaining, wouldn't you think?
That's actually against their terms of service.
Yeah, it's probably true. Yeah, you're probably right.
OpenAI's terms of service to you for using ChatGPT. You can't train your own language model. Whatever you get from it.
Yeah.
So, but Google is firmly and clearly denying the data is used. Bard is not trained on any data from ShareGPT or ChatGPT. Papas declined to answer whether Google had ever used ChatGPT to train Bard in the past. Unfortunately, all I can share is our statement from yesterday. New prominent Google AI researcher, resigned after warning Alphabet CEO Sundar Pichai and other senior execs that Bard, Google's rival to ChatGPT, was using data from ChatGPT. Big no-no in that world. According to the information reporting, the person's name, Jacob Devlin, left Google to immediately join its rival OpenAI after attempting to warn Google not to use that ChatGPT data because it would violate OpenAI's terms of service and that its answers would look too similar. One source told the publication that Google stopped using the data after his warnings. Perhaps it threw out the portion of the trading too. Regardless of whether Google did or didn't wind up using the data, it's interesting to hear that Google might be pulling in DeepMind, which has been trying and failing to become more independent from Google for many years.
But the whole thing, I mean, according to them, to everybody, they have been in emergency mode since December. So this is still part of the same panic, I think.
Yep. Kind of sounds similar to what happened with Google being underhanded, like what Google was doing with Uber.
No, I don't remember that.
They were like Google was like they were investors of Uber, but they were also planning their own ride sharing.
Oh, their own ride share. Yeah, I did vaguely remember something about that. Okay, yeah.
Planning on using some of the same maybe technologies.
Yeah. Okay, we are down to glowing rectangles. You going to do that or me?
Yeah, I think it's your turn.
Okay. All right, here comes glowing rectangles, which we tell you about every week, folks. So anybody who's new, it's reddit.com/r/glowing rectangles. Now, it says a place to talk about all the best toys, but basically it's a place for you or anybody you want, anybody who has a video or writes any kind of article. You can put it here any day and you'll get more exposure. People can upvote it and downvote it. And this was put here by some gadget guy, Juan Bagnell. He's the one who updates it, and we're all very thankful for him because we're all getting more exposure thanks to him. So again, it's called Glowing Rectangles. And if you click on top, see, it said on today, you can go by week, month, year, but default is today. So the most upvotes today, best browser for security and privacy in 2023 by Shannon Moore. So that's gotten 4 upvotes. Second one's always the ad. Now, see, it said 4 upvotes, but this says it has 5 upvotes. So I don't get why Shannon would be above. Interesting. And that has 25 plus hidden features for the Samsung Galaxy S23 series. Who put that there, I wonder? Ted, does it show me who put this there?
Yeah, codename Jack. That's the name of the person.
Okay, I'd just like to see who put it there. Anyway, all right, so according to this has 5 upvotes, and this one has 4, so I don't know why the other one's on top. Case. And this is us as we're doing it right now, which is cool. Thanks to Ted.
Oh, yeah. Give us an upvote. Give us one upvote.
Oh, yeah. Well, you should give us an upvote too. That's true. Now I have 5. We have 5 just like they do. So that's cool. Very good.
George, that was enough. Somebody
had given us 4 upvotes already, which is very nice.
George, yeah, upvote ours.
I did upvote ours.
You upvoted someone else's.
No, I know I upvoted ours. You can see it's
orange. That's because you upvoted theirs. You have to upvote ours. Go down.
Oh, I'm saying, yeah, you're right. I thought I upvoted ours. Sorry.
That'll work.
Now, why isn't it showing me how many votes? Oh, because we didn't have any. That's why this had 5. Okay, gotcha.
It just needs to refresh.
Okay, Sonos era first. So anyway, and you want exposure or you want to give somebody exposure, you go to reddit.com/all glowing rectangles. You can post a video and or any article that you want to post, and you'll get a little more exposure and people can upvote it. I haven't seen anybody downvote any stuff, so I don't know that anybody does. So we tell you about that every week, so now you know about glowing rectangles. So let me get out of this. Let me stop screen. So that's all we've got tonight, folks. We had all our regulars in here, and I think this whole, I guess it's going to become an ongoing argument about whether or not we should keep developing Chat GPT the way they're going and the whole AI stuff. And I agree with them. I think they should chill it out, but I don't think it's going to happen because everybody seems to be rushing ahead like crazy and they're all seeing dollar signs. So I think this might be a case where the dollar signs may end up in the long run getting somebody killed. That's my opinion.
Somebody.
Yeah, like a lot of somebodies. You know, leading us to who knows what, Terminator, who knows? But it's dangerous enough that I think somebody needs to slow it down. But I don't think anybody's going to.
What do you think is going to be the more bigger danger 10 years from now? AI or climate change?
AI, easily. Because if AI is as smart as we think it is, it'll already have taken care of climate change 10 years from now, easily. Thank you, Annette.
Hey, thanks, Annette.
You have a great one, too. Okay, so, folks, thanks for coming in, and I guess we're going to be seeing the ongoing AI argument keep going, but I will keep you appraised as far as I know. I hope I'm not battering you too much with this AI stuff, but it's such a hot topic every single week. I think last week was the first time I didn't feature much of it. So I guess we have to expect it in our future. So I hope everybody has a wonderful and a blessed weekend. Please remember to give us a thumbs up and tell other people about our weekly series every Friday night at 8 o'clock. And have a blessed weekend, and let's always remember we all do better when we love each other, and we will see you next week.